Hi, I'm Tiffani Helberg, a proud board member of ChamberSOUTH, and I am so thrilled that you joined us for this edition of ChamberSOUTH Spotlight because we have a very special guest with us today, Monica Torres of Brightmont Academy. Monica, Brightmont's a very special place, you were just telling me. Tell our viewers about it.
It is the most special place.
Yes.
By the way, thank you. Thank you for having us here, for inviting us. Yes, Brightmont is a fully accredited private school, but it's very different in one specific way, which is the fact that it's fully one-to-one. It's 100% one-to-one, which means that it's completely personalized to the child. And at any given time, the child is going to be in the classroom with his or her teacher, and it's going to be just the two of them. So it's completely individualized. Actually, Brightmont is proud to call itself the one-to-one school.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm upset that I didn't know about it till now. You could have helped us so much. So what kind of students do you have? Who benefits from one-to-one?
Well, we can serve anyone, right? But I do have to say that there are groups of children that come to us, whose families come to us. Let's say an athlete, a child that is pursuing professional sports, right? They need a more flexible schedule for sure, and they cannot adapt to the regular school calendar. So they come to us because not only the session and the sessions that happen in the classroom are one-to-one, also the schedule in which that we set up for the child is completely individualized as well, so that it adapts to what the child's lifestyle is. So athletes and performers for sure. If your parents, for whatever reason, they travel a lot, but they don't want to do homeschooling, like they want the child to have a school experience, that's also something that we can do. But of course, there are many children that, for whatever reason, they may benefit from the one-to-one, the individual type of session and attention. If there's a child that is suffering from ADHD and is dealing with dyslexia, anything that may affect their attention, or if they are experiencing anxiety at school, social anxiety, we can also help for sure. So there's also the child that is very ambitious academically and wants to graduate faster. There's the child that needs to recover certain credits and courses, and they want to do it with us. So what I like to say about Brightmont is that we are an answer, a solution that goes by what the people want today. If there's something that every human being is seeking right now is individualization, personalization, customization of everything that we consume, from products to information to services. So I think that for education, it is about time that we can actually provide a solution that is not one size fits all, because each child is so unique. So why not provide education that way as well?
And what ages or grades are you talking about?
All the way from kindergarten to high school.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have some families that do it together? Like, here are my 3 kids. Is it the same teacher for the 3 kids, or then
that's a wonderful
depends
question
on their age?
So let's take a trip back into memory lane, if we have to, if we must. Our elementary teachers, they can manage all the subjects, right? Mm-hmm. So chances are, if you are or your child is in anywhere between kindergarten and 5th grade, chances are they're going to have the same teacher for all the subjects. There may be a couple that may be specific for a different type of subject, but generally it's going to be just one teacher. Then for middle and high school, as you grow and as the grade level increases,
yes,
the level of specialization when it comes to the subjects requires that we are going to have a teacher for math and algebra and physics and calculus, and another one for story and for history and for language. And so it's going to vary. But also, the most important thing is that we try to pair the child with a teacher that is going to have that rapport and that relationship with the child, so that he or she feels very comfortable during the session. So, yep.
So what does a classroom look like? Are there multiple kids working with different teachers, or just one kid?
It's just one tiny classroom. I want to say very comfortable, but tiny compared to the regular size classroom. And it's just 2 chairs, a very big, ample, comfortable, and convenient desk, and materials around, computers. But it's just the teacher and the child at all times.
So how do you find ways to make up for what they're lacking in that one-on-one, meaning like socialization with other kids and things like that?
Sure. There's a few answers to that. I want to say that here in Miami particularly, right, because of our demographics, we do want to offer a sense of community, right? We want the child to come to the school and feel like that sense of belonging, like this is my school.
Right.
And we want the children to be able to get to know each other and hang out together, if I must say. And there are spaces within the school to provide for that social experience. However, I also have to say that many children come to us because they are avoiding that to a point.
Oh.
They have had, harsh experiences at school, and they have social anxiety, so they just rather come, do their, sessions with us, and then go home. And it takes a while, little by little, they open up. However, there's another side to the story as well, which is the fact that I believe that our children spend too much time at school. A lot of time that is dead time, if you ask me. I think that children must have time to be children. So to go back home and play with the neighbor and go to do sports, I don't know if they want to belong to or be part of a soccer team or play basketball, just be outdoors, hang out with the family members, right? Just like have a quality time with their family. So because they come, they do their sessions and then they go back home. Their school time is so efficient. They come, they do what they need to do, they go back home, they go back to being a child and enjoying, time at home with their friends and family, or doing whatever other activity. It frees up time for them to get registered and be a part of, clubs, anything else that they want to explore.
Cool. And so how are your students performing?
Well, I do have to say that because we're fully accredited and we have a very robust curriculum, and our approach is mastery-based. Let's talk about that for a second. Instead of focusing on getting the children to pass test after test after test, what we want is to make sure that the child has mastered and really understands the subject, whatever that may be. And then because of that, because we only stop when the child has mastered for real the subject, of course, everyone does great, right?
Yeah, well, I guess so.
And we move at the pace of the child. So let's say that, let's pick an average course. Let's say that for that particular grade level, the child has to do 30 sessions in order to pass, let's say history, right? But if the child is very interested in history and is passionate about it, maybe he can move at a faster pace. And then he will master history faster than he was supposed to. But maybe it's just the opposite, and the child needs a little bit more time, to reflect, to take care of the assignments and whatnot. And then we give more sessions to the child. We provide that time and that flexibility, because what we care about is that he understands, that she understands that they are given time not only to absorb the knowledge, but also to fall in love with the learning process,
Where is the school located?
It's 6101 Southwest 76th Street in South Miami.
Okay, and how many students do you have?
Well, we are just about, starting to enroll. So we have, I want to say, 3 students that are going to join us for our kindergarten readiness program. And then we also have about 5 that are going to join us for our middle and high school programs, right? Because it is February, right? Nobody's looking to pull their children out of school right now. But they are starting to notice where their children are lacking skills and, foundational skills. So they're coming to us for that, because that's also something that we offer. Not only full scholarship throughout the year, open enrollment, but also if there's a gap that the parents and the child wants us to work on, we can definitely do that for the children as well. So there are several programs that we have developed for that particular purpose. And those are the children that are coming to us right now.
Sure.
I'm assuming that over the summer, we're going to get the children that want to enroll full time.
But when you look at how many total students you have, about how many are there?
Oh, that's another funny question. The capacity of the school is not the capacity of the building, right? Because maybe the building is big enough for, I want to say, 150 students easily. It's a big building. But because at any given time, we're going to have as many children as classrooms we have, I want to say we're going to have, 10 students at a time? So they come and go. There's a couple rooms for them to hang out if they want to work on assignments independently. There's a homework studio that we have as well. But yeah, it's going to be as big as students we have at that time that we can accommodate in the classrooms that we have.
Okay. And so tell me about how Brightmont was developed.
Well, they have been out there for 23 years already. They are in another 8 states. They just decided to come and open actually a couple of schools here in Florida. South Miami campus is the first one. And then there's Boca, who is about to open in a month from now. So, yeah, and I believe that they are looking forward to further expanding here in South Florida.
And South Miami's been open for how long?
3 days.
Oh, wow.
The grand opening was last Thursday, February 1st.
How exciting.
So, yeah.
Okay. And so how are you recruiting students?
Well, there's been a lot of interest, I have to say. I think that parents are not settling anymore for whatever is out there. There are amazing public schools out there. There are amazing private schools as well, I have to say, here in Florida. But again, the parents are looking for something that really feeds and answers to the child's needs and wants. And I see that the parents don't stop looking. Like, they keep digging and digging, trying to find out what's the best program for my child. So I do have to say that even before opening the school, there was, I want to say, 100 parents, 103 parents that wanted to come and tour the school. So, and that's a lot, I have to say. So, yeah.
Okay. And how do you recruit teachers? It's kind of a tumultuous time to be in education, right? Why work at Brightmont?
Somebody asked me that question today. It is hard to find teachers, but once we find them and they find us, they really want to be a part of Brightmont. Because, of course, I know that teachers, they are teachers because they are passionate about it. They like children. They love them. They really want to share what they know with them. And it's so fulfilling to be able to just focus on one child and see them, connecting with them and see them grow and advance and progress, and being able to follow up on that all the way to the end. So when it's the same, like the same face of surprise that we see in the parents when they find out that it's really one-to-one. It's the same with the teachers. Like, really, it's just one student. I get to focus on one student at a time, and they love it.
Yeah.
They really do.
That's unheard of. So when you look at the other parts of the country that have, done the program for a long time, how do they then transition the child from this one-on-one to, let's say, I want to go to college. I'm going to go off into a regular campus and get eaten alive by, 1 million people in my classroom. How do you transition them?
Well, actually, what I like about this particular model is that it is very similar to college. Do you remember when you went to college and you chose what courses you want to take this semester? It's exactly the same. So we get the child involved in the process of choosing what their schedule is going to look like, at least for this semester. So because we want to organize their day in a way that they're going to be able to make the most out of it, not feel drained, So the fact of they have a say in putting together that schedule and looking at the big picture, like, this is how my school journey is going to look like. It gives them a lot of, I want to say, autonomy and agency you know, and it helps them develop like executive functions and skills, life skills, because everything is not just given to them the way that it is in a regular school setting. Like, this is your schedule, this is what you do, this is how many sessions you're going to have and how many subjects you're going to learn about. They get, along with their parents and us, they get to pick and choose and put together the puzzle that their school journey is going to be. And if anything, I think that develops a lot of awareness, and they develop this sense of self-knowledge. You know? They get to know themselves a little bit more.
They own it.
I also have to say that this doesn't have to be a permanent solution. Sometimes, for many reasons, parents look for a solution like ours just for a while. Let's say just for this year, because we just moved here, but we're going back to our country.
Yes.
Or maybe because our child is involved in sports this year, particularly. Like, there are many reasons why one-to-one is needed at a particular moment in time. What happens is that they usually come, they experience it, and then they stay, because they understand that socialization can happen anywhere else. While here, academically, they progress so fast. And they develop such a beautiful bond with the teachers and the staff that then they don't want to leave. They don't want to go back to the regular school.
That's cool.
Yep.
So I'm excited to hear about this. This is really fascinating to me as far as in education. I don't know of any. Are there other schools like this in South Florida?
There is a couple. There's definitely a couple. Each of us have a little bit of a different approach. I do have to say about Brightmont 2 things. It doesn't get more personalized than this. That's one. That's our promise. And the second thing is that we focus on academics, right? That's our promise. Your child is going to progress academically, and he or she is going to reach their goals so that we can set them up for success for whatever the next step is, whether it is college or they're getting ready for a very demanding school that is, for high achievers and whatnot.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's the purpose that we serve.
Interesting. So if families are interested, I'm assuming this private school is going to be expensive because it's one-on-one. Should they be deterred by that? Are there avenues for people who are not affluent to take advantage of that?
Well, the first thing that is important to mention is that we in Florida are lucky enough because there are so many scholarships out there and different resources for parents to be able to, pay for different school options such as ours, right? Right now, we're in the process of becoming providers so that we can actually welcome all of those scholarships and parents that have been able to get them for their children. So that's one thing. I also want to say that when you compare our tuition with any average private school, we are right there.
Okay.
And when you compare having your child at a good private school that charges this much, but the child is in a classroom with 20, 25, 30 other children versus one-to-one, it's a no-brainer. I have to say, it's a no-brainer. So I think that we are very, not only competitive, but actually fair. Like, the value that we add to the child's life and to their academic progress definitely makes up for how much we charge. Because again, it's completely individualized. It's 100% attention focus on your child.
That's fascinating. So Monica, tell me about your educational journey and how you came to be where you are now.
How long do you have? Not because of my background. I don't mean it that way. It's just that it's been a long journey to get here. Let's just say that I'm not from here, right? I'm part of the beautiful part of the population here in Florida that came from a different country, right? Back in my country, I used to work for a huge private
what country
school.
are you from?
Venezuela.
Oh, okay.
And I used to work for a private university since I was 17 years old. But my background was more in higher ed than it was at this level for primary and secondary education. So, but then I came here one happy day, approximately 10 years ago. And I went back to education, which is my passion. And I was a principal for a private Montessori school because it's been always a passion for me to find out what works in education and what doesn't. And Montessori is also one of those paths less travel, right?
Yes.
And it's also about promoting independence in the child and whatnot. What makes me passionate about this particular position is that I really get to know the child and the family. Like, you really get to connect with them. You get to know not only mom and dad, but grandma and the uncle and the other siblings, and you know where they go to vacation, and you really get to know that child. And I think that in the world these days, that's what is missing. So no matter where you go, if you work for a big school that has like children in the hundreds, at some point it's going to be really hard to know that child. And it's so sad because that child spends 8 hours, 7 hours, 6 hours a day with you, near you. But there's only so many hours in a day, right?
Yeah.
So in a setting for this, not only for the teachers, this is mouth watering, like for me as well. Like, wow, I really get to know these children and these families. So yeah, I'm super excited about it.
That's cool. So if families want to inquire, what should they do?
Go to brightmontacademy.com. They're going to be able to see the locations available. They get to choose Miami, of course, and right there and then they can schedule a tour with me.
Okay, wonderful. Anything else I haven't asked you that you want to talk about?
Let's see. Can I ask you a question?
Of course. Yeah.
What do you think of the concept?
I'm fascinated by it. I wish I had known sooner. I have a 15-year-old in a private school who, we struggled to find the right place for him. Now he's thriving, thank God. But if I had known about a resource like that sooner, boy, could that could have been a game changer. Even if he didn't stay there the whole time, like you said, at least until the child gets settled and grounded and is on the right path. That's really a remarkable resource.
It is. And what makes me happy is that children, sometimes they don't get seen. They get lost. They fall through the cracks, right? Because, of course, and it's not the fault of the schools or the teachers. They have 30 children to serve, right?
Yeah.
It's really hard to accommodate a specific child's needs. So imagine a session that is one-to-one where the child, for whatever reason, they need, this particular child, let's say, they need a mental break or a movement break every now and then, or they need fidgets, or they need concrete materials to support whatever they are looking at in the computer or writing in the piece of paper that they're working with. Like, whatever resources that particular child needs to better support their learning, we can provide.
Right.
And that makes me particularly so happy.
Or they're extremely gifted and the school's not keeping up with them, right?
And they're bored.
Yes.
And disengaged because they have to wait for everybody else to, move forward before being able to move forward. So yeah, that's definitely something to be happy about. So I'm looking forward to serving a lot of children here.
That's great. And I can't wait to see some of the success stories coming out of there. We'll have to circle back, have you back in a couple of years to see how things are going and maybe meet some of your kids.
Yeah, that will be amazing for sure.
Monica, thank you so much for joining us with Brightmont Academy. You can visit Monica, schedule a tour, as she mentioned. And I also hope that you will join us and visit us at ChamberSOUTH. We have plenty of mixers and luncheons for you to meet business leaders in our community, and it's a wonderful opportunity to network and get to know your community. Thanks for joining us.